We have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Everyone, it's the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. And today we are doing that with our special guest, Trini Sherman. How are you today, Trina?
I'm great, Kim. It's great to be here with you.
Oh, it's so good to be here with you. I told you backstage, I could talk to you all day long, literally. So we don't have any scripted questions or anything. We're just going to have a conversation. And you all in the virtual studio audience will get a chance to ask your own questions of this woman who is unbounded, and we'll talk more about that. And you can also let us know where you're visiting in from. We love highlighting our guests in the studio audience. So please make sure that you're an active participant, which you all typically are, and let us know what you have in your hearts too. We'd love for Trina to be able to address what your life is worth. That's what we're talking about today. What's your life worth? Anybody, type it in the comments section. What do you think your life is worth? And we're going to be deep diving into that today. Trina, I want to go ahead and introduce people to you so they know who we're talking to here. Trini Sherman believes that everyone has the power to create the life experience they want, if that want is rooted in the truth of who they are. Woo, that right there is a mic drop moment. We're going to talk about it. Trina is a courageous woman who chose to expand and elevate her life experience by ending something that I'm going to let her say in her own backstory. There's no need to read it or you won't want to tune in. So we'll learn more about what happened that caused her to understand the worth of her own life. And she's overcome many challenges and situations, and I'll let her talk about those as well. But through her personal experience and professional training, she is now an expert in the process of getting to the root of issues and being set free of self-sabotaging behaviors. Woo, okay, everybody, she now lives on her own terms, and she walks in her calling of leading the way for women to speak the truth, come to the center stage, and craft that story that brings pure joy. If I could sing, I would say joy and peace to life on earth. Welcome, Trini Sherman, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's great to be here. Yeah.
Okay, I said all of that. Take a little
I know, now you need to take a deep breath here.
Trina, I would really like for people, because I've had the pleasure of getting to know you through eWomen Network, which is an organization where women business entrepreneurs come together. But I got to know you from that perspective, from a business perspective. I didn't know you before and don't know much about your backstory. So I would love for everybody to just hear more about Trina, not the business executive Trina, but Trini Sherman. Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Okay, well, Trini Sherman was born in a small town in South Carolina. South Carolina, right? Like that's where she started out, in a small town called St. Helena Island. And the importance of that is my foundation of growing up in a community where people looked out for each other. I grew up in a church environment where my faith was foundational. It's very powerful and rooted in the civil rights movement. So I had that as part of the foundation of my value and my worth as a human being, as an African-American woman, child growing up in the South, and being in a proud family community of education and beautiful life. All of that was amazing. And at the same time, there was some alcoholic abuse in my family growing up that had a significant impact on me, and not realizing until much later in life how that thread of becoming the responsible one, being the one who did the right thing, and how I poured myself into my education as sometimes a getaway, of a way to control life, of making sense of things. So a lot of patterns were developed in that time of my life, even being rejected by girls, kind of bullied because I looked different than most of the people in my community. And some of those things, though they were challenging, I found ways to cope and to manage. However, those coping mechanisms, defense mechanisms, led me into a life later that I realized wasn't healthy, because I was protecting myself and covering myself up and not letting the truth of who I really was shine through. I was not radiating in my full potential
Right,
of
right.
who I am. And so there became a point in life where I hit a wall and had to make some serious pivots in order to recover from the patterns and the choices that I had made in my life. So that's
Mm.
how I get here today, is because I made some major pivots. And I'm sure we'll go a little deeper into that. But that's where I come from. I went to Clemson University. I majored in chemistry. I went into corporate America. I got married. I had kids. And there's so much more to share, but I'll let us get a little more deep into the conversation and not just share it all at once.
All right, right, right. Well, okay, so you say at an early age, you were pretty much taking on responsibility and feeling like the weight of the world was on your shoulders because you had to produce, you had to make sure. Did you have siblings? Who were you
Well,
helping
I have an older brother, yes,
Okay.
and like 7.5 years. We're 7-ish years apart. So
Mhm.
there was a large a gap in there. And I was just always very strong-willed, strong-minded, opinionated,
Right.
vocal. So if anything was going in any direction, most of the time I would speak up and stand up and then there were times that things got too much for
Mm.
even me to manage. But yeah,
Well, I
so
like, one thing that I can hear that you're doing, and as a talk show host, because you are one as well, you understand how this works. If a person doesn't say more than with specifics to it, then you kind of move on with from it. You don't deep dive into it any further, if that makes sense, right? Just out of
yeah.
courtesy. So one
Mhm.
thing that I'm observing in this conversation is that you're being very mindful of the abuse that happened and consider it. And so what's making you take that approach? Even though we're not going to go any
Mhm.
further with it, I just want to hear your thought process, because it's going to help another business entrepreneur and woman that has a story to tell, but they're being cautious about how
Mhm.
they're revealing their story. Talk to us.
Well, there are many other people's lives that are impacted. I'm not the only person that's impacted by my story, number one. Number two, sometimes the details, I feel we can get so bogged down in the details, in the quote unquote negativity of the experience, that it kind of loses its power. The reality is, whenever alcoholism or substance abuse, or if there's physical, whatever is going on, it was just an environment of strife more than anything, of negative communication, and getting to a place of like uncertainty. What am I going to experience today? Who's going to show up? Is it a peaceful day, or is it not going to be a peaceful day? Is it, a happy day, or is it not going to be a happy day? And how do I manage the inconsistencies of all of that? How do I bring order and structure to that? Is to withdraw to myself.
Yeah.
I loved my room, closed my door, studied, did whatever, and it was my safe place. So I learned to be safe alone and in my space was one of the things. I learned to be a defender of my mother, because I'm going to get in it and deal with it. And it was vocal. There was no physical abuse, but it was vocal. It was verbal. It was just strife. And at the same time, I've also grown to better understand, as an adult now who's done some healing work, that I have more compassion and understanding for the phenomenal man that my father was, and understanding what his life experience was from his father, and what his life was that created some of those situations that he escaped. So I escaped into my room. He escaped into alcohol to comfort him. So, but as a child, I didn't have the capacity
Of course.
to understand. And it just was, oh, this is impacting me. It's impacting us. Why would this be happening? Now I've done the healing work. It's like I could always see he was a phenomenal man, loved us, took care of us, provided for us, loved by the community in every way. And there was parts of him in our home that created pain and hurt. But I understand it now from a different perspective. So that's some of what you see is me even in my own still growth and transition of having that duality of love, respect, compassion for him as a person and honoring the pain that I experienced myself.
That is so good, Trina. I appreciate how you eloquently shared that, because many people that are even viewing today may have lived in a household or have lived in a household where there was substance abuse, alcoholism, and it didn't end the way that you're now able to nicely articulate it, because people did get hurt and violence occurred and it was irreversible damage done. So I think that what you're sharing is a blessing to people to know that if for some reason some emotional damage happened but no physical, what you're saying I think could be cut out and shared with people, to say that that person still, they only dealt with it in the capacity that they knew how to deal with it.
Mhm.
Doesn't excuse the situation, but it does say that they had their own demons and issues and things that they had to deal with in order for them to become who they are ultimately as well today. And I wonder if, because a lot of, I don't know, because I hadn't dealt with that, if there was remorse in latter years. Do you know that whether that was the case in your situation?
Well, we didn't have the blessing of later years because my father died when I was 16 years old. He was 52. And even part of that understanding too is that he was in the Korean War. He was frostbitten. He had toes that were amputated that led to circulation issues.
Hmm.
And so he eventually succumbed later in life to even the circulation issues. It was a double amputee. So in addition to some of the alcohol, there was also physical health issues. When you have circulation, it impacts the brain. My mother had people come in to help support me and help me understand that some of the behavior I was experiencing was really sickness. And when the brain is not getting enough blood to the brain, when
Right.
circulation, it affects personality, it affects mood. So there's a multifaceted experience that was going on. And I want to circle back a little bit to something you said. Also, yes, there was no physical abuse and people, I did not get physically hurt. What I would also say to people who have had that, we all have experiences nonetheless, and we don't diminish them or highlight them in it because everybody, we can't compare. Yours is worse than mine or
That's
better.
right.
It's your own personal experience. What I would want people to understand and know is that no matter what your situation is, you get to choose how you move forward with it.
Yes.
That it's important for you as an individual to do the work to heal yourself, because holding on to the pain and the hurt, because sometimes we can believe holding a grudge and resentment is somehow holding them accountable and standing strong. And I understand that because that was something I was really good at, holding grudges. I was really good at
It was
holding.
a gift, huh?
Yeah, I really like, okay, well, we just done, I don't ever, with, and I, but what I've learned is all that does is hold me back from living the full potential. So there are resources, there are therapists, there are coaches, there's all kinds of support out there that people can tap into to heal that. Because I would say if I knew now what I knew back then, I would have gotten much more support for myself so that I would have broken some of the old patterns that I developed that were then going to transition me into even more pain down the road because I hadn't healed the past.
Wow. Okay, you all, anybody that has a life experience that you want to share, feel free to pop it in the comment section and how you healed from it, because this is a conversation today about how we balance our lives. What is our life actually worth? And today, Trina from Unbounded with Trina is going to talk to us about how valuable our lives really are. I see you, Sharon. I see you, Ian. I see all of you all. I don't get to call everybody's names out, but I definitely see you. God is watching. I saw all of that, God's power or something. You name it. I do believe God is watching too, by the way. So even though I know it says God's power over there. Thank you all so much, all of you that are tuning in today. So Trina, you went from that, then you went to Clemson and went to college and poured yourself into your education. When did things kind of shift for you to say that this is going to be my calling in life, my purpose in life? What happened, and how did you come to that discovery in your life?
Yeah. So I graduated college, went into corporate America, got married, had 3 wonderful, amazing children. And in those years, they're all grown adult women at this point. So I'm really proud of them. However, in the midst of all that, there was strife and unhealthiness in my marriage.
Okay.
And for many years. And one of the main points I want to share today, the reason it's about what your life is worth, or what is your life worth,
Right.
is a question that I had to get to a point of answering for myself, because things had gotten so heavy and so hard at so many times, just experiencing infidelity and disrespect and strife. And growing up in a home where there was strife, as much as I didn't like it, it was still familiar. I didn't like it. I didn't want it, but it's kind of, we attract to ourselves what we're familiar.
Unfortunately, sometimes
that's unhealed at times, and so that's my personal experience, that I feel that if I had known better, I may have made different choices. However, I'm so grateful and thankful I made the choices that I made, because I have 3 amazing daughters that I love, and they're my best friends at this point. However,
but I have to interrupt you, because I actually was like being sleuth and looking through, and I was looking through your Facebook page right quick while you were just talking. I was like, please, okay, I don't want to say, y'all, that I believe in prearranged marriages, but if any of my sons could marry some of these like beauties, I'm like, oh my gosh, because if they're anything like you are amazing. I have to pull this up if I'm okay. Are these your 3 daughters right here?
Those are my 3 daughters, yes.
So beautiful. I love that.
It's Taylor, Tyra, and Tiara. So I got all these.
What are their names again?
Taylor, Tyra, Tiara.
Go ahead now. And what are their ages? Not that I'm, trying
to. So
I'm not doing match or nothing on this show. Don't worry.
Well, hey, they're single, so if you got good men for them, wait on God's plan. Taylor is 32, Tyra is 29, and Tiara is 23.
Get here. Okay. And I've met with you a whole lot, and I have never seen this picture. That's cray, right? Yeah. So I'm learning something here on the Kim Jacobs Show too myself, that Trina has these 3 beautiful single ladies. Okay, all right, y'all. But like you said, even in the midst of turmoil in marriage, this was well worth it, right?
Absolutely. And a granddaughter to boot. That's 5 years old, Alina. So yeah. It's been really blessed, and my brother has a son, Jason, and he's the firstborn of the family, and so he was basically my first child, because my mother, my brother, and I actually did the threesome raising of him as his parent team. So yeah, he's God, is he 41 now? Maybe about to be.
Your brother?
My nephew.
Oh, yeah.
My brother's son. Yeah, my brother's son. I said he was the firstborn to the family of grandchildren, and so as I said, he was born when I was a senior in high school, and so my mother, my brother, and I were his parent team that raised him. So I'm one of the parents on the team, and that's Alina.
I had to find her too. I'm like, I gotta find this, Kim. You cannot be hosting a show and not find the granddaughter. There she is.
Yes. There she is. Yeah.
I can't even believe you're somebody's grandma. You're amazingly youthful looking. So
thank you. That's part of my vision. Keep it going, because
that's a good thing. Good
I
thing.
want to
Okay.
be 100 years old and still moving and living a full, complete life. So
I
that's
agree with you.
my
I
vision.
agree with you. I see your
Yeah.
comment out there. God's Power became a YouTube member. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Kim Jacobs Show. Greatly
Absolutely.
appreciate you. And make sure if you haven't subscribed out there that you have it somewhere in here. Mackenzie will pull it up in a few minutes. How you can subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show on YouTube as well. And also make sure you subscribe to Unbounded with Trina as well. So make sure you
Absolutely.
follow both of our platforms. I'm trying to look over here, but I have no idea. Let me just let Mackenzie, she's helping me back. I'm like, I'm trying to look, but I don't even see it. So, okay, let's talk about, okay, here we are. Let me put this up. There you are. You can subscribe for any of you that are also wanting to subscribe like God's Power just did. You can do that. And you can also learn more about how to start your own show from scratch by visiting KimJacobsConsulting.com. Keep in mind, we have a group training that is over there. It's the one-on-one training. But if you reach out to me, you can learn more about the actual group training as well. And that is an excellent experience for you to be able to start your own show like this woman did, Trini Sherman.
Absolutely. Sure did. And that's been great. Yeah. And in terms of becoming unbounded, and that's what the show, is about, being unbounded, set free of the heaviness of being in a situation, as I was saying, being in that time of my life and getting to a point where there were times, Kim, that I really got to a point, it was like, this is so heavy. Life is so difficult.
Yes.
And I used to pray to God and like, could you just come and take me? Can you come and take me? And to get to the place of feeling that way and to have that level of heaviness, of the best exit strategy that I could come up with, the best solution that resonated with me was for me to remove myself, to give up on my own life because I wanted peace. And that the only idea I had at that time was the peace would be for me to no longer exist in this earthly realm. But what did matter to me more than that were those three women, young women that you showed, that I would come back to myself and say, okay, no, that empathetic, compassionate, the mother in me, the carer in me said, no, I would cause too much pain on other people. That would be too hard for my mother. That would be too hard for my brother and my nephew. So I had so much compassion and love for others but I did not have it for myself. I did not have the value for my own life that I would be willing to give up being here today with you doing this, living out my purpose so that I could remove myself from what I felt I didn't have the power to change or to
Why?
manage. And
Why
it,
do you think that is too? Because I want you to address that even further. Why? Why
well,
do you think it is that you could lose hope for yourself but not lose hope for anybody else at the same time?
because I'm naturally gifted as an empathetic person. I care for other people. I was raised in the Christian church that said you're there to be a helpmate to the husband. You're there to be you're there to take care of everybody else. You're there to be a servant. You're there to give of yourself. You're to take care of everyone else first. In society, in the messages, I'm a rule follower. I'm the one that's gonna do the right thing, be the good person, fill the roles. And all the messages that I received were, this is the way you do it. So I felt that I checked the boxes. I'm a good daughter. I look out for my mother. I'm a good sister. I'm a good aunt. I'm a good mother to the children and doing all this. I was a good wife, not perfect, but I was in an unperfect situation, but I gave it the best that I got, and that for me, honestly, it's like I didn't want to fail. I didn't, I'm a high achiever. I get A's. I do well in school. Whatever I try to do, I do it well. But this thing is beyond my capacity. I can't fix this. I'm a fixer.
I'm
If
a
it's
fixer.
broken, I'm going to fix it. And I'm going to keep going and going and going and going and not realizing that that wasn't my role to play, that I deserved to have the life that I deserve to have happiness and peace and kindness and gentleness. But I didn't know that at the time.
Wow. Okay. Listen, National Suicide Prevention Hotline 988. If you are feeling hopeless at all, make sure that you reach out to them, even if it's anonymously, so that you can get the help that you need. You are valued, you're important, you're needed, and we do not want you to make a conscious decision to leave this earth. There's somebody that's wanting to connect with you, because all of us have gifts and talents that we need to use to salt this earth. So make sure you reach out to 988. Thank you, Mackenzie, for putting that up.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. Because it's just so important to know that no matter where you are in life, you're here for purpose. And this too shall pass. This too shall always pass. There is always tomorrow. There's, reaping may endure for a night, but joy does come in the morning. But now, which morning, I'm not exactly sure. It's symbolic. It's not like just tonight, but it is. If you just hold on, you do wake up tomorrow, literally. You do have another chance tomorrow. And there's gifts and talents and purpose. And one of the things I realize is I'm an answer to somebody's prayer. There is somebody that has prayed so that I can be here today to give them what I'm saying today. If I had given up on that, I wouldn't have this chance. So I encourage people to know what's the value of your life, and ask the question, like, what value do I have? What do I have to offer? What do I have capacity to do? If it's just one thing, you have enough to just take one more step. Just take one step. If it's to pick up the phone and call the suicide prevention line, if it's to get a coach, if it's to get a therapist, if it's to call a friend, if it's just to journal and say, what are the things I would love for my life? I know today is not what I want.
Right.
But what would I love my life to be? Because the other thing, Kim, when you ask, how did I get there? Is I never looked at it from what I would love. It's what am I supposed to do? What kind of even, what do I want? Sometimes, rarely did I say, what do I really want? But it's also, well, I want this, and I want it to be this way, and I want it to be that. But then why do you really want it?
Right. Right.
Like, why do you want? Ask yourself, why do you want? So sometimes we can be in this completely unhealthy, abusive relationship of multitude of kinds of toxic relationships. It can come in all varieties. You can be in the midst of that, but you feel so hopeless because you want that relationship so badly. Yeah. I just want it. I love him and I want it. And then you have to ask yourself, why? Why do you want it? Just say, why do I want it? What does it bring to me? And sometimes the why can be, I want it because I'm just afraid to be alone.
Ooh, okay. To take a pause right there, we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to come back and hear more from you. But here's the thing. I want to make sure I put these pictures up right here. This is a woman who radiates, and your brilliance is illuminated and your dreams magnified. I love this imagery, so I just wanted to pop a few of these pictures up. We're going to take a commercial break, and then I have your slides as well, and I'll start pulling some of those up for you to deep dive a little bit more on what our lives are worth. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this commercial break. Beautiful, Trina. Wow.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs.
Oh, Mackenzie, are you taking us to commercials?
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you, as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to eWomenNetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
All right, everyone. So many of you may not know this, but Trini Sherman was just elevated to be a premier success coach within eWomen Network. And I want to congratulate you on that honor. And again, she's one of I think it's like 20 something or whatever out of 500,000 members. And so I just want to give you a chance to just say something about eWomen Network and your role too.
Absolutely. eWomen Network has just been a blessing to be in an organization with other women entrepreneurs who are supporting each other. And Kim here in Charlotte is the managing director of the chapter here in Charlotte, and bringing women together to support each other and to learn about each other's businesses, and just know that you're not alone in this journey, and have referral partners, and, just support, to find people that you may even be looking for to do business with, and to support you on this. And then as a premier success coach in eWomen Network, Sandra Yancey, who's a founder, really believes in the power of coaching, and that for herself, it's been transformational, and she continues to have coaches. She says it's just one of the most important things that she's done in order to elevate her as a businesswoman. And so we have about 20 of us who are there with different areas that we focus on. And I am one that really focuses on your mindset. No matter what you're doing in business, no matter what level you want to go to, if you don't have the mindset that resonates with the level you want to get to, you will not be able to break through that barrier, that imaginary ceiling that wants to keep you where you're comfortable and familiar. So I work with you to say, let's break through that. But the only way to do that is to change it in the thought world. So I've been really honored to be a premier success coach for eWomen Network, and working with the women of that community.
Excellent. And congratulations to you. And at eWomen Network, you get 2 complimentary coaching sessions with a premier success coach. So if you are a member of eWomen Network and you have not taken advantage of your premier success coach opportunity, make sure you connect with Trini Sherman. You can go to eWomenNetwork.com/Charlotte. We have our events at the Charlotte Museum of History on the 3rd Thursday of each month. So make sure I see you, Daryl. Daryl is one of our eWomen Network male members. And so we do have some emails as well. And so thank you so much, Daryl, for being here today. He says congratulations to you.
Thank you, Daryl. Good to see you.
I also see Sheila.
Yes, Sheila. Sheila's a good, dear friend of mine for many years. Actually, when I was in corporate America in Wilmington, Delaware, she and her family took me in, and I was a young whippersnapper out of college, 22 years old, and they brought me in and supported me through my experience there in corporate America. So we go.
Very glad to have you, Sheila, as well, tuning in. And again, I see you, Angela. I see you out there. I see you, Justine, Lady J. I see you, Lenitra. I see all of you all. If you put a comment, I'll be able to pop it up on the screen for you. But I'm very grateful that you all are tuning in today. I always like to let people know, too, that the Kim Jacobs Show, we are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time, and it's through guests like Trini Sherman that's on today. If you have not partnered with the Kim Jacobs Show to provide some level of contribution, this is the only way we thrive as a show. And so please make sure you take a moment. Don't do it right now. Do it right after the show, okay? Or you can pull your phone out, as long as it doesn't kick you off the show and hear these points that she's making. All right, you can go to Cash App and do that through $ Kim Jacobs Inc. or even through PayPal. Some people prefer PayPal, and that's paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. or Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show. Or you can even join our membership programs, which is patreon.com. We're /The Kim Jacobs Show. We're always putting content over there that you don't get on the show. And motherdreamer.com/join. And that's a group of moms that have goals and dreams, and we take them off the back burner, dust them off, and make them become a reality by joining forces. All right, Trina, tell us about your program, Radiate. Or you know what? I don't want you to tell us about that. I want you to talk to us. You were talking about some bullet points and a transformational journey. Talk to us about what that looks like.
Well, I when you ask me how did I end up in the situation that I end up in, and where I was giving all of myself away, it's because I didn't understand that I was created to be an ocean. I didn't understand, and I'll tell you the difference in that. A pond has value. It's small.
Okay.
There's some fish in there, can be some tadpoles, can be some things in there, but it is small, and it is has clear boundaries and limitations to how far it goes.
Good.
Then there's the river. You start to get some movement. There's a stream, there's a flow. You know, in the pond, there's no movement of water. And if you're not growing, you're dying. It's stagnant.
Right.
But when you get to a level of the river, at least now there's some movement, there's the greenery, but there is still some boundaries there, but there's movement and there's a flow that is going on that takes you somewhere, which is to the ocean. There's a flow and there's a purpose that is going on at this stage. So some people are at that place that they're leaning into purpose. They're starting to figure out that there is more value to their life. And then there's that place when you get to know how expansive you can be, how much depth exists within you. I mean, if you think about the ocean and what all is under the ocean that we've not even uncovered yet, that you have no idea, and how unlimited it is, how you could spend a lifetime with all the ocean that exists in the world. If you think of yourself from that level as just being this limited being, but think of yourself as this expansive human having a spiritual experience, that you can tap into the vastness of your ocean. So it's important, without judgment, to check in with yourself and say, am I operating as a pond, a river, or have I tapped in to me as an ocean? That no matter where you are, once you come to the level of awareness, that you are aware, that is the first step, but you can do nothing about it if you're not aware. So just check in, figure out where you are, then move forward, because, you know, you put up some of the slides, the pictures of radiate. Radiate is when you're radiating at that ocean level. You're radiating at that place where you're like, I know who I am. I'm walking in my truth. I'm living up my potential, and I'm doing it. And at the same time, I get to still love on my family, be a good wife, be a good employee, be a good business owner, be a phenomenal expert in every area of your life. You still get to do all those things and still live the life of your dreams, live the life that you would really love. And I think I've learned, I used to be one that settled for, okay, it's okay. It's fine. But that's not life. That's not where we're designed.
That is not life.
That is not life. It is like, if you think about, you plant some seeds in your garden, you expecting to yield some fruit from it, not just like, oh yeah, I got the seed and I got a little, you know, like today, I just have to tell you, I'm so excited because
Come on.
I for years wanted a garden. And so once you decide that you recognize there's an ocean and that you can experience and be the ocean starts coming. And so you just find it as you move, it comes to you. And that is what I've tapped into. So I've been wanting a garden for many, 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 many years. I grew up in the South. I told you where that was a thing. You go to somebody's garden, get some fresh fruits, fresh cantaloupe, tomatoes, all that. So anyway, just maybe a month or two ago, I now have me a garden in my backyard.
And now I can look through Facebook. Is there a picture of it?
No picture yet. I'm like, but here it's small. It's got some tomato plants, some cucumber, turmeric. I got mint and basil. And I go outside every morning, get my little mint and make me some tea. Anyway, this morning I went out because my little cucumber one died, couldn't come plant died and one is barely holding on, and then another one's really growing. So I just go ahead and check in this morning. I lifted up the one that's really growing. I'm like, oh my God, they're cucumbers. They're cucumbers coming. They're cucumbers coming. And then I went to look at the other one that looked like it just wasn't sure whether they wanted to live or not. And I looked and I pulled it. I'm like, it's actually producing. It looks like it's not doing anything. It looks like it's not growing. It looks like it's suffering, but they're little teeny weeny cucumbers and there's one piece of flower that's coming. And yes, there was one that just didn't make it. We get to choose. No matter where you are, you get to still. And the one that I saw this morning that's teeny bit, it's hopeful, right? There's still an opportunity. There's still life. And as long as you're here, there's still opportunity for you to produce fruit, to be that ocean that you have been created to be. So that's the teaching there that I work from.
Oh, I love this teaching. It brings me joy to hear that teaching. And I really want to know, in the studio audience, claim your state. Are you, and just be truthful. We'll put it back up again and say what you really are. Are you a pond? Are you a river? Or are you an ocean? We should all be striving to become an ocean so we are free to live the life that God purposed and destined for us. And this is a great transformational journey image, and I love it. But I'd love to hear your comment if any of you all want to say what you really are. I see you, Shirley Murphy. It's a pleasure to see you. And speaking of Shirley Murphy, let me pop this up. Coming up, we have a global networking experience that's happening, and it's happening July 26th through the 28th. You do not want to miss this global event. Lots of international sponsors as well, and it's spearheaded by Shirley Murphy. And I'm super excited about you being on here today. I'll put the link for anybody that's interested in registering for that as well. Okay, let's see. Emilio said, think of a pro that this helps me to remember. Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure you have to elaborate. Emilio, I'm not a good faker, so I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you gotta help a sister out, okay? Elaborate. All right. Help me out. Because it's not you, it's me. I just don't know what's happening. It's probably a comment that was made. All right, let's see. Other comments that came in. Oh, Emilio also said, hey, I love this and thank you. We get that one, Emilio.
All right.
I thought it wasn't just me. Did you get it?
No, but then you know what? I don't know a lot of things. Stuff going on. I have to check in with my young daughters sometime. They're like, okay, what did they mean by that?
Right. My children, they're like, Mom, don't ever say that again. I'm like, did I say what? I won't even say it because they told me not to say it because the meaning of it. But I was like, if I'm eating this hamburger and I'm telling you to go grab this, but I'm not gonna say the word, then to me that's normal because back in the day that it meant what it meant. Now it means something different. Who in the world knows? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Learning Okay. Anyway, Sheila says congratulations.
Thank you, Sheila.
So I am one of the speakers on that acronym. Oh, Amelia, you're gonna have to come on the Kim Jacobs show and break that acronym. Pond, river, ocean. You see how it works where you get a chance to connect with other like-minded individuals. So y'all can go on a national tour together and do some serious work. Pond, river, ocean. So speak like a pro. Now I get it.
Okay, Amelia, I didn't even see it. And I'm always working on some kind of acronym, and I didn't even realize I made one, created one with that.
That's a good thing. So that means that y'all were destined to connect right here on the Kim Jacobs show. I'm excited for you. So let's see. I also see another slide. I would love for you to talk about this, if you will. Radiate.
So in order to move into being the ocean, the 3 points that I really will teach on is, first of all, I call it the ABCs of radiate, is authenticity, getting to know who you are, what you want, what you like, what's important to you, what are your values, what impact do you want to have in the world. You cannot radiate in the fullness and the truth of who you are if you're not showing up as you. if you're not showing up as your authentic self, there's no way that you can be as expansive and broad as you are designed to be. Secondly, break old patterns. You know, like I shared earlier, I had certain patterns that I had developed from childhood of survival. They worked well for me to survive, to get to the other side of those experiences. However, I've grown up. I don't need them anymore. I have the capacity and the power to live my life differently. The only way I'm going to get to do that, though, is if I go back, look at them, be aware of them, break them, and create some new patterns, some more empowered way of living. And then finally, and most importantly, I believe, is to clarify your vision. For people perish for lack of vision. If you don't have a destination, how are you going to get there? If you don't have, you know, when you plug a address in your GPS, if you don't put where you're trying to go, you're just going to drive around. You have to have it into a greater degree of detail of knowing this is where I'm going. And it does couple things. It helps you stay focused on where you're going. It helps weed out other destinations that are not in alignment with it. It helps you to check in with the people who you want that can help you and support you getting to that path. Who are the coaches that will help me go here versus the people who are going to help me go there? Who are the therapists or the business people or the people I want to collaborate with? There's so many opportunities and potential for good. Again, the shoulds, the goods, the have to, the needs, the things that will make people look at you and say, wow, you're successful. You got a good business, you got a good husband, you got children, you got a house, you got you have all these things that the world says success, but at the same time, you're over here saying, yeah, that's what you all think. But in my authenticity and who I'm created to be, that's not really what I want. And I just heard a little story recently that Mary Morrissey shared, one of my mentors at this point that I'm learning from around creating the dreams for your life. But she told a story about someone, and I'm not good repeating other people's story. I'm gonna give you the gist of it. But there was a frog sitting on a plant. Yeah, the summary. A frog was sitting on a plant, and he passed by and whispered, "Hey, I'm a princess. If you pick me up, kiss me, I can give you everything you want." And said it a few times. So he picked the frog up, brought it close, and stuck the frog in his pocket. Then he heard this muffled voice, "Hey, wait, I'm a princess. If you kiss me, I can give you all that you want." He said, you know, right now, at this point in my life, I would just like a talking frog. And I was like, that's so powerful, right? Because most people would think you want the princess that will give you anything you want, but that's not what he wanted. So you have to really get clear on what it is that you really want. What would you really love? No matter what it looks like to everybody else.
That's
right. What does it look like for you? And it takes some work. It takes some support. It took me a lot of work and support, bringing in coaches and mentors and teachers to support me in breaking those old patterns, stepping into my authenticity, and getting clear on my vision so that I can move forward in a way that is strategic versus throwing a bunch of spaghetti against the wall and hoping that it sticks.
I agree. And one of those things was getting rid of the toxic relationships in your life that you felt were holding you back, right?
Absolutely. You cannot. Conscious choice. And that's the thing, is being clear on doing what I do. One of the things that I offer in my programs is doing some relationship math. Who are the people that add to your life? Who are the people that subtract from your life? Mm-hmm. Who creates division? And we may think, oh, they subtract. Yeah, they just kind of create some negativity. But when they divide, they're creating a whole lot of, you can't even work together. They're messing problems in other relationships and all that. And they can be in multiple categories. Mm-hmm. But the multiplier, the one that really comes into your life and helps you elevate to that next level, like you really can take you multiple steps up. Yes, they've done it. They have the experience. They have the expertise, all of those things. And when you stop and you look at it and take the time, you get that awareness, then you'll do the work to try and determine, how do I build on the ads? How do I remove the negatives? You know, because sometimes those people stay in your life and sometimes they need to be removed from your life, but you have to get clear on that. Mm-hmm. And so the toxic people, sometimes, like I said, it's to, like you have to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. but it's also how do you build healthy relationships. People have to learn how to build healthy relationships, because sometimes you're getting back to you some of what you're putting out as well. And so it's important for you to check in and be true to yourself, to say, I have my own stuff that I may be radiating out
Right.
into the universe, and be careful about how your old hurt and your old patterns of unforgiveness and maybe resentment or pleasing, and being so busy pleasing and taking care of everybody else that you're putting yourself in a position that people are taking advantage of you. And you're looking at it and saying, they're the problem, they're taking advantage of me. But if you take control of your own life, you realize it's because you're letting yourself put other people before you take care of yourself. And that's where you take control back, take your power back, and not be victimized, quote unquote, by life's circumstances. And so that's why unbounded, and I talk about unbounded power, is the power to create the life that you want, and understand that you have that power within. It's just, what value do you place on your life? And when I mean life, not just you breathing in and out and your heart pumping blood in your body. It's your life of your purpose, your meaning, your dreams, your desires. What value, what worth do you place on it? And what are you willing to invest in time, in thought, in retrospect, contemplation, even finances, money? Are you willing to invest the money and the time into developing the life that you want for yourself? And that's a choice you get to make.
I must say that I'm gifted over here, because I'm typing what you're saying as we're going. I'm sitting here literally typing it. And so I made a typo on one of the earlier points, but I redid it here. But you say, get rid of, let me pull that up, get rid of toxic people, get rid of them. But when you say that, sometimes people have a difficult time getting rid of people that they do know they're toxic, but they don't know how to get rid of them. Do you have any suggestions on how people can get rid of toxic people without damaging the relationship and burning the bridge?
And that's the thing, is I don't really promote the idea of just getting rid of toxic people, more of getting to a place that you first of all identify toxic relationships, and then do an investigation into what's causing the toxicity. It's sometimes you can just, oh, that person's bad for me, but they may not be. The person could be somebody that you can build a healthy relationship with. You just have to determine, is that the reality for you? What's going on in the relationship that makes it toxic? How are you all interact? What's your communication style? How are you talking to each other? What is the toxicity that it's coming from? Like what variety of toxicity is it? Is it just somebody being completely abusive and disrespectful and holding you back in so many different ways? You get to set your parameters. And that's the thing, is investigate. And what I believe is everybody has their own answers. And what got me into trouble and gets a lot of people into trouble is trying to follow the rule of what it means to have a relationship. And I'm saying, break all those parameters and get clear on what kind of relationship you want. Because people can stand outside of your life and tell you that's toxic and you need to leave. And you might say, that's really not that bad for me. I'm good with that. I know that we're on a trajectory of healing, right? You get to decide, like, I know what I am right now isn't where I want to be. This is where my vision is. And I have a plan of how I'm going to get there. That's one thing. However, if you get to a place that you determine for yourself that relationship is something that you need and determine you do not want in your life, then that's when you begin to do the work of getting clear of asking the questions, getting somebody to support you to say, how do I deal with that? And so some of the areas would be learn how to set boundaries, be clear on where you want to go, be clear on what the relationship that you want and what you want it to look like. And then the reality is it's going to take courage. It's going to take courage in a decision.
I love it.
It's not an easy thing. It's if you decide I don't want this doesn't work. you will be fearful. You will have all kinds of thoughts in your mind on why you can't. And you just have to really continue to remind yourself that I can do this. I have the power, set some boundaries, and lean into courage. And when you lean into courage, trust and believe when you get on the other side of courage, there is a phenomenal life waiting for you on the other side.
There really is, but people are so fearful because we don't. In the Word of God, it talks about we only know in part. So I believe wholeheartedly. I have a whole book written. I point to it over here because it's written in handwritten form. So I need to get it into my computer because it's completely done. And I have a whole theory about how I'm balancing life at this phase of my life. But one of the things is we don't know the whole picture. So sometimes it's difficult for us to step out in faith because you're like, oh, when I do this, what's going to happen? But how, as Les Brown says, it's not our business. So we have to just trust that God's got us. And if this is being put in our spirit, man, heavily to the point where it's nagging us, preventing us from sleeping, it's something we need to get going and doing. And the rest of the details will always work itself out. And it's so much better in the ocean once we step out of the pond, go through the river, and deep dive into the ocean, we're going to land just fine.
Yeah. And it's so important to know that courage is built. So take little courage steps along the way so you get to the point that when you got to make that big decision, you have the muscle. So it's like working on the gym. You're not going to go in there and start picking up 100-pound weight, right? You're going to start at 5 and build yourself up, so do little things to build courage. Like when someone asks you, let's go to dinner at a restaurant A, and you don't really like restaurant A, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. Take the courage step to say, you know what, I really don't like that restaurant. I prefer to go somewhere else. That's leaning into the fear of saying, because you're used to saying yes, old pattern, used to saying yes when you really mean no, because you got that pattern of you want to satisfy people. There are little things you can do along the way that are courage steps. Mm-hmm. So that when you get to the point where you said, I'm ready to leave this relationship, you now say, I know that I can do hard things. I know that I can take big steps because I have the proof. And courage eventually turns into confidence. The more you practice courage, the more you get confident that I can do this hard thing. And I know that once I do it, because I know when I'm fearful, like you said, if it's coming up out of me, it's meant for me.
It's for you.
It's coming in, it's meant for me. So that fear is kind of like this invisible barrier that's saying, don't go, stay here. But once you push through it and it gets out of the way, then you get to get on the other side of the thing that's calling you forward. So it's just one little thing that's been there for your whole life that's there to been keeping you safe, because it's not there to hurt you, but it's there to that fear, don't do that. You might get hurt. You might get disappointed.
Come on. You got it. You got it. Take the step.
You got it. Take the step. And hey, take the step. You're already unhappy on this side.
Right. Hello.
Why not just take the step and get a chance to have, if it doesn't work out exactly the way you want, at least you get to deal with something different. Right. What do you have to lose is just, let me give it a shot. I even told my children if you're going to fail as you. If you're going to quote unquote fail, because you never fail, you always learn from something.
You're just learning lessons.
You're learning lessons, but in your mind, if it feels like failure, at least do it as you, as authentically you. And then you get to at least say, well, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I felt led to do. And I got to learn from it versus I did what somebody else wanted me to do. I satisfied somebody else. And now I never get to know what it would have felt like if I had chosen me.
I agree. And today in my kitchen, every day I put something up for my children. And today, literally, I said, listen, you can do the hard things. Let's do this, guys. Whatever is open-ended, make sure you go to some great measures to bring it to closure today. Don't let it just linger on, lack sleep, aggravate you, agitate you. It never gets done. Bring it to closure. Put it on your list. Check it off your list because you brought it to closure. You did the hard thing. And some things are hard. You don't want to go and deal with certain things, but you have to in order to get to the other side, to get to the ocean, as you say. All right, let's tell people let's tell people how they can join in on learning more about your program, Radiate. Wait a minute, you can take the comment down for a second, Mackenzie. Thank you so much, sweetie.
Yeah, Radiate, as I've been sharing with you guys so far, is that Radiate is about really stepping into that, that ocean, your expansiveness, your greatness. And so I'm inviting people to join me for 4 weeks straight on Wednesday evenings to just spend some time digging into your authenticity, breaking some old patterns, and clarifying your vision so that you can get to the place that you're fully living into all that you're called to be. And this is, I'm not selling some pipe dream here. I'm telling you, this is us getting started. This is here to bring some level of awareness. This is to get you to begin to expand your perspective and your thinking and how you see yourself so that you can begin the process of stepping to the next step. This is a journey that you will be on for the rest of your life. I'm here to partner with you to say, let's get started and let's get moving. Like you said, you told your sons, close the circle. You can't start it until you can't close it until you start it. So let's get started. Let's get understanding the importance of your life, the value that you have within you so that you can move forward and radiate and expand and then swing in the Atlantic Ocean, then head to Pacific or to the Indian or the world is your oyster. So let's just dig in and know that it is possible for you to expand into all that you is. And don't listen to that voice that's going to come up and say, no, 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 stay where you are. You're good.
That's right. That's right. Don't listen to that voice. Make sure you join the program. It's available now. You can scan that QR code. Radiate is a 4-week intensive program starting on August 28th. Now, if for some reason you're watching this as a replay and it's not August when you're watching it, available when you're watching it, then just still reach out to Trina and find out what program she has going on at that time. Because sometimes I'll replay the episodes and people are like, hey, I missed the program. You didn't miss it. If you're watching it and it's not the month of July and we're talking about this event, that means that you're watching a replay, which is perfectly fine. But here's how they can stay connected with you. Tell them how they can stay connected.
Yes. And just want to say on Radiate, it's going to start August 28th. So the registration will extend out to the week before. However, I'm offering an early decision discount that ends on July 31st, just to say, congratulate you for being able to say, let me just go on and do the thing and not wait on it. But you stay connected with me on all social media platforms at Unbounded with Trina. You can check me out on my website, unboundedwithtrina.com. And I would love to hear from you. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Sometimes I hang out on TikTok a little bit, and I have a YouTube channel where my podcast, Unbounded with Trina, it gets aired weekly on Wednesdays.
And tell them how you started your program.
I had this amazing teacher and powerful woman who teaches you how to start your show from scratch. And her name is Kim Jacobs. She actually hosts a show.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know her? Yeah, so it was a great time. Got me because Kim talked to me a few months before that. Like, Trina, I think you should. I'm like, oh, you out of your mind, Kim. I'm not doing a show. That is not me. And I don't know if it was 3 months later, it was like popped in my spirit. Yeah, I think it's time for you to get your voice out there and do this. So yeah, here I am.
I'm grateful that you went through the training. You can check out her graduation. Just type her name in plus Kim Jacobs, and you'll see that she graduated from how to start your own show from scratch. And I believe that every business entrepreneur, every motivational speaker, author, if you are, again, that nagging feeling in your spirit and you want to have that one-stop shop where people can find you and connect with you on all fronts, whether it's through Unbounded or whether it's through her journey with her books and different things that she's done now through her podcast, you can learn more by just contacting me, 704-944-3534. And you can email Kim at thebalancedoctor.tv. We have a group training with 5 students each time, and we are starting our next training very soon here. So make sure you urgently reach out if you're interested. All right. Did we cover everything? I think we covered a lot.
No, I think we did. I did jot down a couple little notes here to make sure I kept on track.
Please, if there's something that you want to say as a let me pull this one more thing up. It was your book. I wanted to tell people because you're in this particular book And I had so many pictures back here that I've been looking to see if I had enough space. Okay, let's see. Tell us about the book that
Well,
you're
that
in.
was a great opportunity of me swimming out into my ocean that I always for years felt like, okay, there's a book in me. And so this was a great opportunity for me to step out with some other leaders and be a part of this amazing project about how the importance of awareness. You can do nothing until you become aware of what's going on. So it's a compilation of many people's life stories, business, personal. And what I share in there is really about how I made the major pivot in my life to divorce after 28 years, taking care of my ailing mother and having a business and all the things that I did that crashed upon me all at once. And I share the 7 wisdom nuggets I gained along the way on that journey of getting to the point that I'm unbounded and I'm radiating at the frequency of all my dreams and visions so that I can be that expansive ocean. But yeah, that's awareness put me on, has some really personal stories where it's really important leaders. We came together and shared our vulnerability in ways that you will not find in another awareness leadership type book, because we are all human and it's important for us to share our stories and tell our truth, because other people can benefit from it, because we tend to hide the truth and people look and say, oh, they have it all together and everything's wonderful. But behind the scenes, there's something more going on, and that's humanity.
That's good. I'm glad you shared that story. You can get a copy of that on Amazon, and Awareness Put Me On. And so make sure you get a copy of that. Thriving by Decision. Yes, 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 yes. All right. And I do want to make note that one of our Freestyle Friday experts, which is Carrie Ann Hilliard, she's also a part of our Mother Dreamer movement. She is having a Help Adolescents Speak Out Parent Retreat on this weekend. Again, if this is the weekend of July, is it? Yeah, July 27th weekend. She is having this. If you reach out to her directly, they're going to be doing a boat cruise, like a boat ride, having some dynamic speakers, which Pastor Clarissa Arnetta is one of our Freestyle Friday experts with the Kim Jacobs Show as well. Pastor Clarissa is with eWomen Network. She's a part of everything that I pretty much do as well. And I'm not sure of the other person, but I know that she's going to be dynamic as well. Licensed counselor Joanne Brown. So you want to make sure you are in the house. Reach out to Carrie Ann Hilliard. It's a private location because it's undisclosed. They're going to be taking trips and different things, and that'll be revealed if you reach out to Carrie Ann Hilliard. Let her know the Kim Jacobs Show referred you. What are y'all going to do today when you get done? You're going to register for Radiate, a 4-week intensive program. This is the early bird rate if you go ahead and do that by July 31st. And you're invited to go on this journey with Trina, Unbounded with Trina Sherman. And she's going to help change your life. And she's committed to doing that. So any closing comment, Trina?
First of all, I want to remind everybody, I know you see an I on there. I should have said this early on. It's spelled Trini, and it's pronounced Trina. And that's just a beautiful gift that my parents gave to me to keep things interesting, because I'm just so expansive that they couldn't just... I expanded outside of the normal phonetics of our English language. But I'm just really joking. But that is, I just wanted to everybody, they may be confused why you're calling me Trina and it's spelled with an I. But yes, yeah, it's the pronunciation. But I just want to, encourage everyone that no matter where you are in life, you are called to be and live in the vastness and expansiveness of your ocean, whatever that means for you. And don't settle for anything less. Just keep moving, keep taking steps, never give up. It is never over. Your life is worth something amazing, and it's up to you to invest in your life, to pour into your life, and never give up on your life, because the world needs you. Otherwise, you would not be here. So we're glad that you're here, and we look forward to seeing all that comes through you authentically. Yeah.
Authentically, y'all. Authentically. I do want to let you all know, too, that I was recently honored for Women to Know in the Carolinas area. So thank you so much for Know Women of the Carolinas. And there was an article. It's on my Facebook page if you want to see it more and learn more about it. But I just want to thank them for recognizing me for that particular honor. Make sure you join the program. Go do it today and follow Trina Sherman on all social media platforms. We are excited. I see all of your comments. I don't think I got to address every single one of them, but I see you, Chris Trammell. Thank you so much. You said she's awesome. Miss Kim J. Okay, thank you, Chris, for that beautiful compliment. Mother Harper in her 80s on social media, one of the longest living transplant recipients. She had a heart transplant over 20 years ago, and still that heart is beating in her chest. So I just want to thank God for that. And Sammy, who took time to write this long, filled with scriptures, which I'm grateful for. And he talks about Psalm 32 is a wonderful psalm that speaks to the joy of forgiveness and the blessings of trust, the wisdom of living a life of integrity. Here's a brief overview, and it's in the comment section, so you all take a moment to look at that. And thank you for taking the time to type that comment, Sammy. And thank you, Virginia Rutherford Hall, who has a show called The Wings of Wisdom. And she says, clarity is key, courage is key. This leads to confidence and awareness. All right, I know I didn't get to every single comment, but we are grateful for you all tuning in today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. We absolutely love you. And we hope that you have experienced better balance in your life as a result of Trini Sherman being here today. Thank you, Trina, for being my guest.
Well, thank you for having me. It has been an honor and a great time.
Thank you. Thank you, Mackenzie, backstage. And thank you, Cassandra. I had her put a flyer together all quick. I was like, she's like, huh? Okay, you have a guest. Thank you for everyone. I love you all and have a great day. See you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make